An effort, and we had a roundtable at the Catholic University of Lviv in Kiev. We had the dinner debate about economics and economic reform with Mr. Ivan Miklos and with Dr. Erhard Busek. And we had the roundtable about infrastructure politics at the Diplomatic Academy of Ukraine. Now, what we want to do in 2007, we want to intensify the cooperation between Austria and Ukraine in the civil society, infrastructure, economy, and in SME politics, to work very actively to promote strong cooperation between our two countries. This is the SME effort, a multi-stakeholder Austrian concept, which is also very important to promote as a decentralization of the economy. This has worked very much in the Balkans and in Central Europe, and is hopefully one of the key drivers for economic reform as well here in Ukraine. Then the cooperation, obviously, the clear commitment towards Ukraine as a future EU candidate country. This is very important, and we have here what Dr. Busek has contributed very much, a list of institutions which are in all sectors from public administration to trade, which is very important for Ukraine to cooperate with. I have brought some pictures together of our roundtables and of our main events, and to be very successful together in this effort, we hope that the civil society of Austria will understand this call, that at this moment it's very important to stand with Ukraine, to intensify the cooperation, and to do the maximum in 2017 to really bring our two countries together in all aspects of the society, of the economy, and of the political world. And I want to thank all the people who have contributed, and the key personality, Dr. Busek, maybe your assessment of the event and also your outline for 2017 for Austrian-Ukrainian relations. Please, Dr. Busek, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Gunther, and also many thanks for the preparation of these days. I was really happy to be again at the Ukraine because I'm connected for a very long time here. I started my activities in the time where Ukraine was not yet independent, and from then on we tried to improve the relations not only between Ukraine and Austria, but also the general position on Europe. I think the result of these meetings were several. One, first and all, I may congratulate the European Forum Alpbach group, which is doing an excellent job. I don't know if it is known here in Ukraine, but this group for years is participating at the yearly event in Alpbach at the European Forum with quite a large delegation and doing a very good job. That's to inform about the situation in Ukraine to other representatives of the young generation, and I think it's extremely valuable, and I'm quite happy that they are doing so. We had here a very good meeting to discuss all the consequences, and also the presentation were very excellent. The second point which I want to touch is that we need more knowledge about the Ukrainian situation. I think for sure there's some report about what is happening here at the borders and in the relation to Russia and so on, but it's for sure necessary also to focus on the progress which is done here in Ukraine. So far I considered with the Austrian ambassador together maybe to organize quite quickly a delegation of journalists, getting more knowledge, more information. The report about the border situation is happening here in the TV, but not in general about the political development. And I think that's for sure necessary because you cannot present only a country with war activities. I think you have to do it also concerning economic, social developments and so on, and what's going on here. Hopefully in the right direction, but my impression was a very good one because step by step everything is moving forward. The third point was civil society. I'm in charge of the Erste Foundation here on some activities in this direction, as it was mentioned, in the direction of Balkans. And also we did one meeting of representative of the civil society here in Ukraine, but I think we have to repeat it to encourage them to go here in this direction and to connect the civil society in Austria and other parts of Europe with the civil society here, which is making strong efforts for changes here in Ukraine also. And last but not least, I think the meeting with the Deputy Minister of Infrastructure was also very important. I'm one of the founders of the so-called Danube Initiative. The official name is European Union Strategy for the Danube Region. Ukraine is a part of it, and beg your pardon, I'm a little bit critical. I think Ukraine can do more. The importance, I think, of this initiative is to connect Ukraine, because the Danube is a connection together with the Rhine-Main-Danube Canal, and here the way between Atlantic and Black Sea. And I think it has a great importance. Also some importance for the port of Odessa. If I'm looking to the port of Constanța in Romania, they are using it. Constanța is based at the Black Sea and not at the Danube. But the Danube is quite important, and my conviction is that also for Odessa, the Danube might have some importance, and I think we created some perspective to encourage also these activities in this direction. And then we had a very long discussion, I think here in midst some important movements about the railway and highway system here in the eastern part. The European Union is moving forward on this, and I think we have to focus on this because that's extremely important. I think you can say it's a question for the future, yes, but it has to be started in the present now that we are going here in the right direction. I think a lot of activities were envisaged which we can do in the next time. And seen from my side, the visit was very valuable, and I will try to continue on this subject. And I have to say many thanks to all who are supporting this, because it's extremely important not only for Ukraine, but also for Europe. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Dr. Busek. You have done so much for the Balkans, for Southeastern Europe, for Central Europe in the last 30 years, and we are grateful that you have now decided to support Ukraine at this important moment, and we want to thank you very much for this. And now I would like to invite Gustav Kressel from the European Council of Foreign Policy about his report. Gustav, the floor is yours.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much. So if you go to the homepage of the Institute for World Politics, you will find our report also in Ukrainian. It was basically published yesterday in the evening, at least as far as I saw. And it's sort of the report assesses, it gives a cross sort of examination about the progress of reforms in Ukraine, with a central message that actually Ukraine can reform. It is just sometimes difficult to overcome vested interest, and you need a lot of pressure from abroad plus help from civil society to do so. And at the very end, it comes sort of to a conclusion on who is helpful and who is less helpful from the European members with regard to that effort. And you will discover that Austria, unfortunately, is in the slacker category, and that is actually quite surprising, or it's a bit of a sad story, because if you see the tradition of Austrian foreign policy, Austria being the main supporter of the independence, for example, of the Slovenia, Croatia, and the other Balkan countries, of the reordering of Southeastern and Central Europe, or of EU enlargement. And I still remember the former Chancellor Schüssel's speech in 2004 when it was about the EU enlargement, where he said that we have now a unique window of opportunity history doesn't present you every day. And I think he was very clear in his, at least in his mind, although he didn't say that, he knew who would shut this window of opportunity, a bold guy in the Kremlin. And so if you see today's Austria and the rhetoric coming from the political establishment, that sort of we have to find a compromise, and it's basically sort of the fault of the crisis is distributed evenly, and all this kind of nonsense is enormously disturbing. The other thing, of course, is that when you sort of as a European go to Kiev and preach anti-corruption reforms, and then you unfortunately see that that one or the other ex-prime minister with a very bad record goes in and out, or oligarchs are hidden, or that Austria is the only country that has not an agreement on data exchange between the national banks to investigate murky deals where the Ministry of Interior is not cooperating with the National Anti-Corruption Bureau or very slow in cooperation with the National Anti-Corruption Bureau, then this is especially painful because it undermines actually your own efforts. But you know, complaining is one thing. Doing something about it is then urgently needed, and sort of why I'm very grateful to you to convey this group and sort of to try to push here is that we can't sort of let this state go on. We unfortunately have a very introverted political elite at the time, the refugee crisis dominating the political discourse, and we have to fight against Russian propaganda or influence that is very well organized and very well orchestrated. But we would be cowards if we wouldn't pick up the fight. And so we convey it now in Kiev to see who would be an interlocutor, who would support, whom to approach. How can we harness actually the plenty of experience that Austrian organization, businesses, and also parts of the government have supporting transformation from the 2004 round of enlargement to the 2007 round of enlargement, and then on the Western Balkans and in other societies. There is actually plenty of experience that would be very useful to Ukraine. The thing is, this experience is yet not connected. It's sometimes dormant or sometimes bothered with other things, and sort of here you see a bunch of gentlemen that will or want to change this. Thanks.
You are also assessing it on a critical point, you know, and there is issues which have to be addressed in 2017, and we will address them systematically. You understand as well, we are the very much pro-European and pro-Ukrainian groups of the Austrian civil society, and this is very important for having this academic strong report which you have written, analyzed it in details, and just to be recommended, and we will work very closely together in 2017. Now I would like to welcome Stefan Haboeck, who has from the office of Dr. Rubig and from Paneuropa. We are looking very much forward to your contribution. Stefan, the floor is yours.
Dobre den. Thanks for being here. I have two main issues I want to support in Ukraine and in Austria and in European Union. The first thing is the support of SME structure, because I think that SMEs are the backbone of a market economy society, and that's the road to freedom and liberty and a strong civil society. It's not much well known in Austria and in European Union that Ukraine also has a big SME structure. We just always hear about oligarchs ruling the country, but we don't know much about the SME structure, and we want to support you to make this more public. The second thing is the PR and propaganda. I'm also working on European Union level with propaganda and counter-propaganda from outer European financed institutions and NGOs who want to destroy our democracy, our liberty, and our rule of law system in the European Union. And after 70 years of peace in Middle Europe and in Austria, there are a lot of people who want to see everything burn again, and we are not much aware of that in European Union, that it can happen too fast. So what we hear in Austria about Ukraine when you put on Google News in German is just news from another very big country in the east. So you don't get the positive news from Ukraine. You don't hear anything about the progress of reforms, police reform, jurisdictional reforms, administration reforms. And within 2 years, what I saw as a foreigner, you achieved so much, especially in that situation with the war in the eastern Ukraine. And we always hear in Austria about the war in Ukraine and the terrorist attacks and so, but I want to show in Austria and show the European people that you are a truly European country, and that your country and the civil society, the young and the old people, are standing together to reform the country in a lot of political and administrational aspects. And as Dr. Gressel said, the politicians in Europe also want to find a compromise. For me, it's totally clear, and also for my organization, Paneuropa Union, there is no compromise on liberty, freedom, democracy, and the freedom of Ukraine and the independence. So we will not accept a compromise on liberty. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. That's a very strong commitment, and we are looking forward to intensify our cooperation between the civil society, and your commitment to Ukraine's future in the European Union is very important for us, and also with the help of the member of the European Parliament, Dr. Paul Rubig, I think we can achieve a lot in the coming year. At this moment, I would like to say thank you very much to Dr. Busek, to Dr. Gressel, and to Stefan Haboeck, because they now have to leave to the airport. Igor will kindly guide them. We appreciate your support. We want to thank you that you came at this important moment in December 2016 to Ukraine to support us, and what Austria has done for the Balkans, Dr. Busek, is possible, and for Central Europe. You are active since 30 years. Yeah? Now it's the time to support as much as possible for Ukraine, because it's really needed. Thanks a lot, Dr. Busek. It was very special for us, and also the two speakers. Then I would like to invite Dr. Broyde to come here, and then we continue our press briefing with the experts from the civil society. And I want to thank you very much for this. It's now Professor Broyde who will speak about infrastructure and infrastructure connections. It's very good. We are very happy for that. And we would like to thank you very much. Because of the flight arrangements, everybody has to go already a bit early. And Dr. Busek has this flight now already. And it was the perfect timing to do it like this. Professor Broyde will come to my side. Alles Gute, passt auf den Busek auf. Und dann ist gut, Professor Broyde. It's very important because the vision of Dr. Busek is, and this is since a long time, to prepare EU accession with infrastructure. Infrastructure means railways, waterways, with electricity, and with roads, and with technical standards. This is a very, very important way to prepare EU accession, because once there is intercompatibility of infrastructure, then it's irreversible, the EU-Ukrainian direction. And what we have done in the Balkans, Dr. Busek was the key driver, was with the Danube dialogue, and this is very important, and also with the connectivity agenda for Southeastern Europe. This was very special, and now we have basically the Balkans integrated technically. And the same proposal we have for Ukraine, technically integrate via infrastructure now, because we don't need a big political debate about that. Yeah? It's just logical, it's just necessary from geography, from economics. Yeah? Let's do it first this, and then secondly, let's also win the battle about the political decision about the future of Ukraine in the European Union. This is our proposal. We are very grateful that we have Professor Broyde as a leading infrastructure expert here with us, and from Chernivtsi, a city which we really love and we miss and we like so much. Professor, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Gunther.
And
I will speak in Ukrainian. В першу чергу я хочу висловити подяку.
First of all, I would like to thank and say that I'm glad that Ukrainian-Austrian dialogue has been restored. This is very important because the issues which we discussed today, Mr. Busek for the first time discussed 15 years ago. He raised those issues as concerns today's current topics. I would like to accent that the Danube Strategy in its Ukrainian components, they are quite different. The Tisa Prut rivers in Carpathians, it is important for Ukraine, but a very important factor is that this area, Carpathians area, is very important, as before 20 centuries the whole experience of many centuries of infrastructure development in the Alps region, it was transferred, it had been transferred before 20th century. It concerned development of communities, development of infrastructure. The communities developed according to the Alps scenario. And you can see how these regions of Alps and Carpathians are similar. And this influences the development of different systems. So the first key message of Ukraine from the very beginning of the Danube Initiative and followed by Danube Strategy, this is development of Carpathian and Alpine regions of the countries members of Danube Strategy. This concerns all 4 countries from Poland to Romania in Europe. This is the main cooperation between 2 macro-regional strategies, Baltic Strategy and Danube Strategy, and the main is Alps and Carpathian Conventions. And talking to today's topic, via Ukraine, for the 3rd century, the shortest way runs from Varangs to Greeks, from Baltic to Black Sea region, bypassing Carpathians. It was developed in the period which I mentioned today, and you can see that the most important project for Ukraine, Euro Railway. The Euro Railway, it was present in 1946, and now we have some difficulties with restoring it. The project is not limited to trans-European railways. It is interregional project. Carpathian Convention envisages the balanced approach to the second way is an optimum one to unite Romania, Moldova via territories of many countries to Košice. This is the existing way, and we should restore traffic along this way. The other important question, Ukraine is a unique model in all 14 Danube countries, because this is the only country which unites resources of Danube rivers and delta, and this gives us unique opportunity to replicate experience further to the east, to the Dniester River, because this runs along Ukraine and Moldova, which are members of European strategy. In the right bank and left bank, it is included in it is according to the Danube strategy in the essence, and also we can say about inclusion of the rest of 4 oblasts of Ukraine to this strategy, and we should replicate Danube strategy to the east, to the Dnipro River and Bug River, and even further to the east if possible. We will see this from the history. On behalf of the city, with anthem is saying Viribus Unitis. So I am for this old slogan of Bukovina. I wish all of us to make our dreams true.
Motto for these 3 days is rediscovering our common past, but in your case you know our common past very well, and you know also the road to the future together. This is infrastructure, and I would like to say we very much support also that Ukraine is more active in the Danube strategy, and also then to change the Danube strategy towards the Danube-Dnipro strategy, of course including the Dniester area. These are very important strategic decisions, and also if it's possible to join the Balkan connectivity dialogue of the European Union, that would be the best way. But if that's not possible, then at least Ukraine to develop their own infrastructure dialogue with the neighboring countries, Poland and Romania and Slovakia and Hungary. Invite them yourself and put this interconnectivity agenda on the table of the European Union. This is the way to do it. You're a powerful and strong nation, but it works much better if you're interconnected infrastructure-wise systematically with the neighboring European Union. This is very important, Professor. We want to thank you very much for your leadership and contribution, and we will be very active on this one, because infrastructure is the key for tourism, And we think as Austrians we have strong competence on tourism, and tourism is a driver of economic change. It really makes the country much more nicer to use if it's really successful, and it also helps the regions. I saw the beautiful Chernivtsi. It was a really amazing city, but not so many tourists. With the right Bukovina highway, it's very possible to have a lot of Austrians to rediscover that beautiful pearl, and it was the mission, I think, of Alfred. I would like to give you the floor now to outline also the vision you have and the experience here in Ukraine, and what you think is the potential, especially in the sector of tourism for 2017, because we decided we work very closely on that one. SME tourism, Austria, this is a very powerful cooperation platform. And Alfred, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. I may be guiding the Austrian Ukrainian Friendship Society from next year, and I'm happy to do so because I've been living in Ukraine for 8 years, and before that I was shuttling between Austria and Ukraine, mainly Western Ukraine, so I know the Carpathian areas very much because I have been doing projects in touristic infrastructure development in the oblasts of Chernivtsi and Lviv and mainly Zakarpattia. Tourism, in my view, is a very interesting and promising field of development, taking into account that this is also strongly related to our second focus, SME. Tourism is mainly based on small and medium companies. So this would be a good conjunction, a good combination to support both aims, small and medium companies and tourism. What I see basically to be worthwhile in development is, in a first step at least, to develop the Carpathian area for winter tourism, but also for summer tourism, because in modern times, in today's times, you can't run something only in one season. You need all year, or at least a 2-season resort, Kurort. So in this respect, I only hope that all the wood in the Carpathians will not be illegally cut off meanwhile, because this is not a good development, and if you go there you see a lot of damage done illegally. So Carpathian development mainly for winter sports, but 2 seasons, also for summer, with Austrian know-how, and I think Austria in this respect is one of the prime and really prominent countries in the world to give know-how, to give expertise, and I have done this some years ago, and I'm happy and very interested to redo this starting next year. Second item for tourism development certainly would be Odessa. And I not only mean the city of Odessa, because there is a well-developed already tourism focus on the city of Odessa, but don't forget that the oblast of Odessa has hundreds of kilometers of good beaches. And parts of them are not developed at all. Parts of them are developed, in many cases Soviet style, spoiled. So this should be redone, maybe with some caterpillars or whatever, or develop new resorts alongside the coastline of Odessa Oblast. Not only Odessa, it could be Mykolaiv as well. Yeah, this is a good potential, and if this is done even better than what was done decades ago on the Gold Coast in Bulgaria, this is a real and a viable potential. Last not least, talking about tourism, the capital of Ukraine, Kiev, has much more to show than most people know. And as Gunther has said at the beginning, and as Dr. Busek has said, the problem we have to overcome is to make known in Western Europe, and mainly talking about Austria, that Ukraine is not a country of war, this is 5 to 10%, 5%, yeah? But 95%, there is no war, and out of these 95%, maybe 40, 50% are really worthwhile to be developed touristically, and this means the main task in this aspect, apart from or before you get investments, is also image building. And this is the main task, and we are happy, and I'm happy to take that over and to take a leading role in that. Thank you very much.
We are very happy for your contribution. This is a really very powerful thing. Also to win the peace, it's very important, and to bring prosperity. And tourism is really bringing prosperity in the whole regions. And there is still a lot of poverty in Ukraine today regionally. And in Austria, for example, in Tyrol, it's now our richest regions. And it was as poor as the Carpathians, and we have developed tourism, and now it's very successful. And this is very good, Alfred. We will look forward very much for the future cooperation. Thanks for your commitment. And Tyrol is a very good topic, because the European Forum Alpbach, actually, it is the most important forum of Central European think tank forum now. It is created after the Second World War. It was 20 students who were in poverty, and after the war they came together. They decided to create one yearly forum in the mountains, in the poverty, and they think about the future of Europe, that no Second World War can be repeated. And it's kind of amazing story. They were 25 years old. They were working in resistance. They decided to meet in August 45, and this is still going on. And Olena is the representative of this forum here. And it's very important that a lot of students are going to Alpbach in 2017. And you have already done tremendous effort in the last years. And it's not just a symbol for European unity, but also for regional prosperity. And we are very grateful for your presentation this morning, and also congratulations for what you have achieved already in the last years under your leadership. Thanks a lot, Olena. The floor is yours. You can speak in Ukrainian.
Thank you, Gunther, very much. I would prefer to speak in English.
Okay, very good. So, the presentation is coming?
Yeah, I hope so. Yes, yes. Speaking about cooperation and relations between countries, Ukraine and Austria, the state and business play a huge role, but an important role also plays a civil society. And the non-governmental organization Kiev Initiative Group Alpbach is a representative of Ukrainian civil society and young people in the Austrian Ukrainian relations through the European Forum Alpbach. The European Forum Alpbach, as Gunther said, was founded in 1945 and became a platform for the all stakeholders, for the state, business, international organizations, representatives of civil society, of culture and art, but also it's a platform for young people. Around more than 5,000 participants attend the European Forum Alpbach annually, and over 700 young people all over Europe receive scholarships from the European Forum Alpbach and initiative groups and clubs, including also Ukrainians. The European Forum Alpbach offers a unique multidisciplinary program, which consists of 16 seminars, which are conducted by the professors from the Austrian, German, British, American universities. Also a week of symposiums, political, economic, financial market symposium, build sustainable environment. The program is very fruitful, rich, and also summer schools on European integration and the law of European Union, a summer school on the health care and social system, and some other summer school programs. And the Kiev Initiative Group Alpbach also is a part of the huge network, the Forum Alpbach network, which consists of more than 30 independent clubs and initiative groups all over Europe. We were founded in 2012 by the former scholarship holders of the European Forum Alpbach. We were lucky to receive a scholarship and to experience the program of the forum. And our original aim was to promote the program of the forum and European integration of young people through the scholarship projects. In 2014, when the annexation of Crimea happened, and after the beginning of the war conflict in the eastern Ukraine, our focus shifted towards the young people from the regions which suffered from the Russian aggression. We decided to launch a special scholarship project for the internally displaced people in 2015. We successfully realized that project already for 2 years. And you know, when the war conflicts started, a part of Ukrainian society blamed local people in Donbass for their more or less pro-Russian views. But honestly, it's natural that some people in those regions had such kind of views. First of all, because of historical ties with Russia, and secondly, because the influence and presence of Russia in those regions was high, and the presence of ideas of European integration was low. And the state itself and the civil society and Western foundations for many decades and years didn't didn't focus enough on integrating those regions towards the European values. And but we realized that quite late. As a society and a state, and as a non-governmental organization, we decided to promote European integration amongst those young people who live in eastern Ukraine and Crimea, and to open European program of the Forum Alpbach. As we consider that it's very important to increase educational programs abroad for all young people in Ukraine, but especially for those who live and were dislocated from their eastern Ukraine and Crimea. But it's also important for the European community and international community to hear the stories and to understand what's happening in Ukraine, to hear about the situation of Ukraine not only from the media perspective, and Western media is also full of Russian propaganda, but from the perspectives of people who lived in eastern Ukraine and Crimea and were displaced, to hear their stories, but also to hear about developments in Ukraine and reforms. With increase the presence of Ukrainians through our events during the European Forum Alpbach, as panel discussions, fireside talks, and so on. Over the 2 years, we received 331 applications from young people from eastern Ukraine and Crimea, and we interviewed over 85 candidates and granted 20 scholarships. 20 scholarships for the young people from who were displaced. And we are going to continue our scholarship project for the next 2017 year. and I would like to encourage all young Ukrainians up to 30 years old to apply for a scholarship directly to the European Forum Alpbach and also to Kiev Initiative Group Alpbach. The European Forum Alpbach will open an application call in February 2017, so you should check a website with the requirements of the forum, and we are going to launch an application call for a scholarship program for the internally displaced young people and also just for ordinary young Ukrainians up to 30 years old in the end of January, beginning of February 2017. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Olena, for this really excellent presentation and also your concrete and very significant contribution already, especially the IDPs, to bring them to the European Forum Alpbach and then to successfully help them here to integrate. This was really very important things, and I would like to congratulate you for this achievement.
Thank you.
Also, as you have seen, it's the most powerful network we have in Austria for the European education. We want to open that stronger for the Ukrainian youth and academia, and this is our effort to structurally, systematically work together in 2017. By the way, also you have seen this beautiful conference center. After 70 years of development, the forum, together with the municipality and the Austrian Oblast of Tyrol, was able to build a huge 1,000 person seated conference center into the mountains, beautifully integrated in this fantastic landscape. This is what is possible, and it's all open for Ukraine, and you have a lot of friends in the European Forum Alpbach, and this is very powerful network. In 2017 we want also to bring the president of the European Forum Alpbach, Dr. Fischler, the former EU Commissioner of 10 years for agriculture, to Ukraine, and we will continue these important activities together with Olena. I want to thank you very much. And now I want also to like to thank you very much, Alfred, and also Professor Broyde. And I would like to close this activity today. I would like to thank you for joining, and we will be very active as well in 2017. Thanks a lot, and we want to celebrate Austrian-Ukrainian friendship together. Thank you very much. That's for sure. Heroj Slava. And also, of course, thank you very much to Valentin and his fantastic team for all these opportunities here to be here. Thanks for the guests to come. Thank you.